And then moving down to the Stovall House, that was I guess a challenging project to get through. It's obviously an old estate style home and it's turned into a private club, which I know some people were questioning, of course, but now that it's built, people love it and enjoy it. I was there last week. I mean, it's every time I go on the Stovall property, I don't feel like I'm in Tampa. I feel like I'm on vacation. The way that they've designed that space is really incredible.
Yeah, it is, and it's very effective. I mean, sitting on the patio at Stovall on a March afternoon in the afternoon is one of the best spots you could ever find yourself.
Moving that birdcage greenhouse to the front, let's talk about that, because wasn't that in the back of the property originally?
So it was in the back of the property. So that greenhouse was built and designed by a family in just outside of London. They do all the greenhouses for the royal family. And I had one of our folks really, really dive into who it was. And we got a hold of them and they agreed they could come to Tampa, take it apart. We could store it off site and then put it back later. But Blake really wanted to move it. And so we moved it. And it was a fascinating process for sure. We happened to decide we were going to move it just before we got like 2.5 feet of rain over 3 weeks. So lots of sleepless nights of having that thing propped up and worrying about it sinking back into the ground before we could get it moving. And definitely an interesting process. The moving company was a group, third generation house movers out of southern Louisiana. And they spoke some dialect of southern Louisiana that's not exactly the English language in this purest form. And they were fascinating. They were doing all this stuff. And I walked up to them and I said, "Where's the approved shop drawings that show kind of how these structural beams work?" And he looked at me and he goes, "They're in my head." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And he goes, "I'm third generation. I know what I'm doing." I was like, "Oh, okay." And I said, "So have you ever moved a house that's all glass?" He goes, "Well, I haven't done that before." I was like, "So maybe we should talk about beam sizing." And "I've been doing this. I'm third generation. Leave me alone." I was like, "Okay." And so that was pretty much the last time I had any substantial conversation with the guys moving the greenhouse.
Wow. What made you choose that guy? I mean, is it just his confidence that won you over?
I mean, they were the only ones that wanted to take on moving an all glass greenhouse.
How does that, I mean, so is there insurance? Like if they broke it, they pay for it? How does that work?
No. Everybody that looked at it, we had to sign unconditional waivers that if it broke, it was broke.
Yeah.
So.
And you got these Louisiana boys to come move that thing. Mm-hmm. Wow. Now, how do you find that's such a special contractor, right? Obviously. I mean, did you start in Tampa to find a company that would do it?
So they had worked for a customer of ours in Clearwater years before.
So you're familiar with them.
Yeah.
That is hilarious. And he's like, "Hey, I got it, man. Don't worry." And you're like, "All right."
Yeah.
And they did it.
They did it.
So what did they put it on, almost like a tank track type deal or a semi-trailer? How'd they literally move it?
So they drive steel beams underneath it, and then they go in and they prop like these kind of tracks underneath it, and then they pull it up onto a low boy trailer. Wow. And they move it, and then they slide it back onto the new foundations wherever they're moving it. In this case, we were moving it to the front.
And the whole time your fingers are crossed, like, well.
For sure.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
And they cracked no glass.
Hey, they killed it, right? They did a great job. And it's in such a beautiful, better place, I would say. Because I think where it is, you wouldn't have been able to do kind of the L-shaped where the Orangery restaurant is. And I mean, the whole project worked because you could move this, essentially.
No, it was in the back. It was where the parking is.
Oh,
but
okay.
They wanted it to be pronounced and in the front, and the clock tower be kind of in the up along Bayshore.
Right.
And have the ability for the members to enjoy it and it be up closer to the water, more visible.
If you enjoyed this clip, click here for the full episode and make sure to subscribe. Thank you guys for watching.